Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom. There is a silent truth few speak of, yet it influences every interaction between man and woman. It is this: beneath the surface of elegance, intellect, and independence lie certain unseen patterns, hidden weaknesses not born of flaw, but of nature. The Stoic man does not exploit them. He observes. He understands. And with understanding, he cultivates connection, not control. He leads not with force, but with wisdom. In today's world, many chase affection with frantic energy. They try to impress, persuade, and perform, but the Stoic knows better. He knows that calm observation reveals more than loud declarations. That stillness uncovers more truth than speech. A wise man seeks not to conquer a woman's mind, but to understand the terrain of her heart. To truly connect with a woman, a man must understand her inner tides, those emotional shifts that govern her behavior, her yearnings, her fears. These aren't flaws, they're doorways through which a grounded masculine presence can walk, not to fix but to witness, not to take, but to offer steady strength. Here are 7 vital insights rooted in the understanding of Stoicism that every man must know. A woman's need for emotional safety often overrides reason or logic, and this truth is not a flaw. It's a reflection of how deeply she feels. Unlike men, who are generally conditioned to compartmentalize emotion, women are more attuned to the emotional atmosphere around them. When that atmosphere feels unstable or uncertain, it causes internal unrest, no matter how rational the situation may appear on the surface. A man might offer her all the right words, promises, or even material comfort, but if she does not feel safe emotionally, none of that will matter. Her instincts will pull her away. For the Stoic man, this is not a call to manipulate emotions, but to embody a calm and grounded presence. Emotional safety is not created by saying, "You can trust me." It is built through consistency, stillness, and composure. A woman subconsciously watches how a man responds under pressure. Does he panic when challenged? Does he become defensive when misunderstood? Or does he remain centered, choosing his actions from reason rather than reactivity? When a man carries peace within himself, he becomes a sanctuary for others. A woman drawn to such a man may not even understand why. She just knows she feels calm around him, and that calm becomes a magnetic force. Emotional safety does not mean never making mistakes or always knowing what to say. It means being someone who doesn't lose himself when the world becomes chaotic. In the end, logic may win arguments, but emotional safety wins hearts. It's not about fixing her world, it's about being unshakable in yours. And when a woman feels safe, not controlled, not coddled, but safe, she lets down her walls. And that's when she truly shows up. Not just as a partner, but as her most authentic self. Perfection is an illusion that many chase, believing it is the key to love, success, and respect. But what truly draws a woman in is not a flawless appearance or a perfectly crafted persona, it is presence. The kind of presence that speaks without words. A man who is present commands attention not through noise or effort, but through stillness. He listens deeply, observes without judgment, and exists fully in each moment. This is rare, and that rarity is powerful. Most people are mentally scattered, distracted by their phones, their anxieties, or the next thing they plan to say. But a man who is grounded in the now makes others feel seen. And for a woman, this is deeply attractive. She wants to be in the company of someone who makes her feel like time slows down, not because he's trying to impress her, but because he's fully there, undistracted and undivided. From a Stoic perspective, cultivating presence is a discipline. It means mastering your attention, detaching from unnecessary desires, and bringing your focus to what is in front of you. This kind of presence cannot be faked. A woman can feel it. She can feel when you're with her but thinking about something else. And she can feel when your entire being is attentive, not needy, not performative, just quietly grounded. Presence says, "I am enough right now." And that quiet confidence creates a gravitational pull. You don't have to be the most successful. best looking or most charming man in the room. If you are the most present, you will be remembered, you will be felt. And in a world full of men trying to prove themselves, being the one who simply is becomes a kind of magic she can't ignore. Silence is often misunderstood. Many assume that when a woman is quiet, she has nothing to say or nothing is wrong. But a Stoic man understands the weight of silence. He knows that often what is left unspoken reveals far more than what is said. A woman's silence can be a mirror, a test, or a cry for understanding. It's in the quiet moments, when words vanish, that her true thoughts, concerns, or affections begin to surface. Most men panic in silence. They rush to fill the void with noise, explanations, reassurances, or jokes. But the man who is rooted in Stoic discipline does not fear silence. He welcomes it. He observes. He waits. He listens, not just with his ears, but with his awareness. Silence can be an invitation, a doorway into deeper emotional territory. If a woman falls silent during a conversation, during conflict, or even after a tender moment, it's not always rejection. Sometimes it's vulnerability. Sometimes it's her waiting to see if you'll sense what she's feeling without her needing to spell it out. Emotional attunement comes from paying attention, not interrogating. The Stoic man does not force answers out of discomfort. He does not react to silence with insecurity. Instead, he reads the space between the moments. He watches her body language, the subtle expressions, the energy shift. And when the time is right, he speaks, not to break the silence, but to honor it. When a woman feels that a man can understand her even in silence, she feels deeply connected. She feels safe revealing more. She opens, and that in turn builds a trust that few men ever achieve. In a world of noise and distractions, the ability to understand what is not said is a rare and powerful gift. There is a quiet strength and restraint that speaks louder than any outburst or grand display. When a man practices emotional control, he embodies the essence of Stoic philosophy, responding with reason rather than reacting from impulse. This kind of control is not about suppressing feelings, but understanding them, mastering them, and choosing not to be ruled by them. In a world where people often react to every trigger, a man who remains calm in the face of chaos stands out like a lighthouse in a storm. Women instinctively observe how a man responds to stress, conflict, or disappointment. These moments reveal more than compliments or charisma ever could. When a man keeps his composure during a disagreement, when he doesn't shout, sulk, or manipulate, it sends a powerful message. He is in control of himself. This self-mastery makes a woman feel safe, not just physically but emotionally. It shows her that she can express herself fully without fear of being judged, dismissed, or punished. Emotional restraint also shows maturity. It tells her that you've faced storms before, and you know how to navigate them without losing your center. This doesn't mean being cold or unfeeling. It means being selective about what deserves your energy. When a man doesn't react to every provocation or emotional wave, he becomes a steady presence in her life, someone she can rely on, someone she can respect. This kind of man doesn't need to raise his voice to be heard or prove a point to be understood. His silence, his patience, his unshaken posture in moments of emotional intensity, these speak volumes. In a world full of men chasing validation through noise, the one who finds power in restraint becomes the one she can't stop thinking about. Authenticity is a rare currency in a world obsessed with filters, masks, and performances. A man who shows up as he truly is, without pretense, without embellishment, radiates a kind of quiet power that cannot be manufactured. Women are drawn to this because authenticity signals self-acceptance, and self-acceptance breeds trust. When a man isn't trying to be someone else to impress her, he creates space for her to be herself too. That mutual vulnerability is what creates real, lasting connection. The Stoic man does not posture. He does not shift his values, depending on who is watching. He knows his principles and stands by them even when they're not popular or praised. That kind of grounded consistency builds respect. When you live in truth, when your words and actions align, people feel that. Women feel that. They sense when you are not seeking approval, but offering presence. They sense when you are not trying to manipulate their perception of you, but instead inviting them to see the real you, flaws and all. Authenticity also removes the burden of performance. When you're honest about your strengths and your struggles, there's nothing to hide. And paradoxically, it makes you more magnetic. Women are not seeking perfection. They are seeking realness. They want to know who you are beneath the surface. Not just the polished image, but the man who can be raw, open, and still unshaken by judgment. To be authentic is to accept your humanity with grace. It means embracing both light and shadow, joy and pain, and presenting yourself fully, without fear. In doing so, you grant others permission to do the same. And when a woman sees a man who is unapologetically himself, it's not just attractive, it's liberating. That kind of freedom is unforgettable. Confidence that is silent speaks louder than bravado. It's the quiet, grounded presence of a man who knows who he is, what he stands for, and what he will not tolerate. This kind of confidence is not performative. It does not shout to be noticed. Instead, it settles into a room like gravity. It draws people in not by demand but by being undeniably centered. For women, this silent strength is one of the most magnetic traits a man can possess. There's a difference between arrogance and inner certainty. The Stoic man does not boast because he knows that true power never needs to announce itself. He is calm because he's not threatened. He listens more than he speaks, not because he's timid, but because he values understanding over control. His confidence isn't built on external validation, but internal alignment with virtue, reason, and discipline. When a man like this walks into a room, people notice, not because he tries to be seen, but because he is fully present. Women are intuitive. They can feel the difference between a man who is performing and one who is simply being. When they encounter a man who doesn't chase approval, doesn't flinch in discomfort, and doesn't crumble under pressure, they are drawn to his stability. It feels safe, it feels rare, and it feels deeply attractive. That man becomes the one they look to when everything else feels chaotic. Confidence without words is communicated through posture, eye contact, stillness, and intentional action. It is rooted in knowing your worth and never needing to explain it. This level of self-assurance cannot be faked. It is forged through hardship, reflection, and mastery of the self. And when a woman sees this in a man, it stirs something ancient and instinctive: admiration, trust, and deep desire. Mystery is not about hiding who you are. It's about not giving everything away too quickly. In a time where people overshare without thinking, a man who holds something back, who reveals himself slowly, becomes infinitely more intriguing. Women are naturally curious, and when a man does not rush to lay out his entire life story, she becomes engaged in the journey of discovering him. This sense of wonder, of slowly unraveling layers, creates emotional depth and lasting interest. The Stoic man does not feel the need to explain every move, thought, or emotion. He speaks with intention, not for attention. He understands that the unknown holds more power than the overly familiar. In conversation, he may pause more than others, think more deeply before speaking, and hold silence with comfort. He chooses what to share, not because he's secretive, but because he values meaning over noise. This controlled revelation creates space for imagination and anticipation, both of which are deeply compelling to women. Mystery also signals emotional independence. When a man doesn't overshare, it shows he is comfortable in his own solitude, not constantly seeking emotional rescue or validation. That independence is a beacon. It tells her he is self-contained, that he has a rich inner life, and that she must earn his deeper truths rather than be handed them. That process of earning and discovering builds emotional investment. Furthermore, mystery isn't just about withholding information. It's about maintaining a life that is full and meaningful, with or without romantic validation. A man on a purpose-driven path naturally becomes mysterious because his attention is not constantly available. This scarcity, paired with authenticity and integrity, creates a magnetic pull. And when a woman senses that mystery, it triggers, not confusion, but curiosity. a curiosity that can evolve into something powerful and lasting. The Stoic man does not rush to use this knowledge. He simply watches, waits, and walks with quiet strength. Where others react, he remains still. And, in that stillness, he becomes the man she cannot ignore, the one who needs nothing yet has everything.